We're checking out today. It's about 11:45 p.m. Going to the Gyeongju KTX station. Probably costs about 25 US, maybe 20 to 25 US to get there. About 30-minute ride. So overall, I think Gyeongju is a nice city. It's very clean, modern. It really blends the old and the new. So you're gonna get tombs and infrastructure, museums, temples that are, and old Korean homes and architecture that are, 1,000 to 1,500 years old. And they have special government laws in place here to protect these old buildings. They don't allow for the building of condominiums in many parts of the city. They have to be built outside certain designated zones. That way it doesn't ruin the look and feel. As you saw, you'll see like Starbucks and other coffee shops with the old traditional Korean roofs, and many little side alleys and streets, and with restaurants, cafes. There are a lot of cafes and restaurants here. So many. It's like going through the maze of all the different restaurants through Tokyo or through Seoul. So there's a lot of similarities there, except this is a much smaller town, a lot more nature, a lot more trees. Much of the older buildings have been retained or restored, and there are two major UNESCO sites here. So is it worth coming to Gyeongju? I would say yes, and I think minimum 2 days, maybe even 4 days would be appropriate if you really want to get a feel for the city itself. But minimum 2, maybe 3 is good. 4 if you really want to get a good feel, but who knows, maybe you could even stay longer. The people who live here seem to be quite proud of their city. So the train ride from Gyeongju to Busan will take about 30 minutes, and it costs about 11,000 won per person. 40 minutes? No, actually 30 minutes. It only takes 30 minutes to get there. And it costs 11,000 won, Korean won per person, which works out to be about maybe $8 per person, $9 per person. And a 30-minute ride. So again, touching upon the phenomenon of the hotel service, I don't want to keep discussing this like as if I'm stuck on this, or I'm crazy about this, but it is kind of it is kind of odd that on the third day that they kind of turned to 180. Again, I wouldn't say it's a 180 in terms of top-notch service, but they became a little more human and a little more acknowledging of your presence, smiling a little bit and talking to you and saying, hey, hi, can I clear this table for you, or can I take this from you? Whereas in the prior days, they would just take it without saying a word, without even looking at you. No eye contact, no acknowledgements, no bowing, nothing, which is common in Korean culture. So it was just a weird third day. Again, the only difference in the third day is that we've been here for 3 days, so they've seen our faces more often, so maybe they feel more familiar. Whereas if you've only been there 1 day, there's less care, less acknowledgement, less noticing, less familiarity. And also the first couple of days there were a lot of guests. And again, that's no excuse. And there were also a lot of kids first couple of days. Again, that's no excuse for them to not be at the top of their game and look frazzled and disorganized and not composed. But again, it's like a big difference. It's almost like, who are these people on the third day? Like, they completely changed. But yeah, the hotel should improve. They could definitely improve on their training, because the staff does need to be trained a little more. That way they could rival the service that you would normally find in the better hotels in Thailand and Japan and the top hotels in Seoul. And again, this is a Hilton. It's not like it's a lower rung, lower tier hotel chain. It's a Hilton, so you would expect that. And when we stayed at some other hotels in Seoul a few years ago, there was also that same kind of vibe, like that cold indifference, just business. Hey, less acknowledging, less courtesy, less very little smiles. There was a lot of that too in that hotel. So I know that that type of attitude does sort of run through unless they've been trained. Yeah, the people of Gyeongju seem to be quite active. A lot of people bicycling, running, walking in the morning. They walk around nature. They're out and about a lot. Even a lot of the older people are out and about. They're paired up with friends, with older friends. A lot of grandmas just walking together with other friends, walking around the city. It's nice to see. Since many foreigners like to travel alone, or people like to travel alone, not just foreigners, or I guess anyone who goes into any country is a foreigner, but you know what I mean. Since a lot of people seem to like to travel alone, and they do travel for whatever reason alone, there should be a method of a system where these single travelers can get together, meet up at a spot, travel together if they want. People can just meet new faces and people and do stuff together, little meetups. But unfortunately, everything has to be done on the internet. I wish there was a way to do this without having to use the internet, or use like Facebook, or use Instagram. I don't know, what else could you use? These meetup.com or whatever people use. Everything is, so much of what we do today is dependent on the internet and social media. I wish there was a way to do it without that. That was like a known thing where people meet up at a certain coffee shop or a certain place, and they can just kind of do stuff together. That way they don't have to necessarily travel alone. Even though they are traveling alone, they can still do stuff together in a informal, friendly manner. Maybe that's what hostels are for. People meet each other in hostels. So in this part of Gyeongju, closer to the stations, you'll see more apartments. And I think a lot of people might reside here. And maybe it's less expensive to live out here versus living more closer in the city, where there are more of the traditional homes, and where the lands are earmarked and protected for historical landmark purposes. So there are a lot more apartments here, high rises here. But from what I've heard from the locals, the apartments and condos here are very expensive. I mean, for I'm hearing that the average 2-bedroom apartment or condo, it'll cost you about $1 million to $2 million US dollars, which is about the same price as in Seoul, and even that is super expensive. I mean, these prices are about 50% higher, 50% or more to 100% higher than in the US. I mean, a 2-bedroom, maybe I'm gonna guess is maybe about 1,500 square feet, is $2 million US dollars. I mean, I don't know how people afford housing here. So that's way more expensive than the US, definitely more expensive than LA, Orange County. And these are even in second-tier traditional cities like in Gyeongju. Yeah, look at these high-rise condos here, further out from Gyeongju. 20, 30 stories, I'm not sure. At least 10 stories. We just got dropped off at the station, and now we're gonna walk towards the entrance and try to catch our train to Busan. Gyeongju Station. And it's about noon. And the sun is hot over here. It must be about 90, I want to say 90 degrees and sunny.